to continue on, man, the guy we got to talk about is Steven Nelson. Man, this is an interesting one. Obviously, guest of the show, man. Definitely check out that interview. Not even for Steelers content, just his story was awesome.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like betting on yourself, taking chances, the living conditions at the JUCO, like it was nuts, man. It's a really good story.
100%.
And it really gives you a better appreciation of him, because I know once the reports initially came out of him requesting a trade, it kind of was mixed in terms of the reasoning. Some people looked at it as, oh, he's being a prima donna, he wants more money, and more so attacking the character element of him, versus the people that saw the real reasoning was because the Steelers were saying that we're either going to release you, we're probably going to release you. So we'll give you the opportunity to facilitate a trade on your own behalf. So that way, if you can get the trade done, you can pick your destination. Contract still says the same. You don't have the hassle of being released. You don't have to deal with the just the feeling of being released. Some people look at it as an embarrassment. Some people don't, but to each his own with that. But they're at least giving him that luxury. So people initially looked at it as, man, Steven doesn't want to be here anymore and this and that. But it was never that type of thing. And that's,
I never thought that
at
all.
But that was the biggest reason why I said to even check the interview out as well, because it's like, if you know him, you hear the interview, he is the last guy that you're going to be thinking of from that vein. That's going to be, all right, I was here for a couple years. Now I'm ready to move on to the next spot. That's not going to be the case. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I definitely didn't think that at all. I thought it was just unfortunate circumstances with where we're at, cap-wise, whatever it is. And, yeah, we're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, man. We already knew we were going to be cap-struck. It was going to be a tight situation. Obviously, you still have to account for your draft picks and things like that. So even though we joke about them having $2.2 million, and yeah, you can essentially go out there and sign somebody else on a 1 year, whatever, with voidable years, they still got to make sure they have enough money to sign their draft picks, to sign undrafted free agents and things like that. So yes, this is a part of freeing up some more of that money. So the narrative of you're bringing back Juju at the expense of Steven Nelson isn't 100% true, because that was the other thing of why people...
The numbers are so similar.
Right. They were like, oh, man, well, I don't want Juju back if that means that. That wasn't the case either. You know what I mean? Like, Juju coming back, does it play a part in it? Yes. But as a whole, they still have to free up money. So you go and they basically chose between Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson when it came down to it. They already released Vince Williams. They weren't going to touch the Castro once things continue to progress through the offseason. So they said, okay, between Joe and Steven, and they chose to stick with Joe. Now, you can make the case of which corner you think is better. I thought the first year we thought Steven Nelson played better. I thought last year Joe played better, but obviously Joe was older. So it just depends on how you want to view it, man. I don't think it was a right or wrong either way. I'm biased to Joe because Joe's my guy. Obviously, you know what class he came in with as well, so you know how I feel about that. And
he's got that reputation of being CB1 wherever he's been.
Whereas with Steven, that was the gamble that we took, and it paid off that he could come here and play at a high level. But before that, I mean, he didn't have a lot of high-end productivity. Even when he had the league leading interceptions, it was you were the league leader in terms of targets as well. So the perception around him was always different compared to Joe. But like I said, if we're going to keep Joe, I mean, I love Joe. Joe's my guy. And Joe, man, he talk about a guy that can cover at a high end, but he's not afraid to stick his face in the fan. And he's the swaggiest dude I know, Team Jordan. You know how I feel about that. So it's just like, I understand it. But like I said, the biggest thing was just making sure that people understood that it wasn't Steven Nelson actually wanting to be traded or wanting to be released. This is just the product of business. This is the product of the cap being what it was this year and them having to make necessary moves to continue to have that roster in compliance and things like that.
What do you think about potential trades? The one that I'm seeing is Eagles, Zach Ertz.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, some way, maybe we get a draft pick in return. Yeah. Maybe we have to send a draft pick. I'm not 100% sure.
Now, how much is left on Zach Ertz's contract?
I don't know.
I have to figure
That's
out. That's
what I'm wondering. Now, they took on a lot of Carson Wentz's deal, right? So I wonder if
they took on the lion's share of it. Remember, they got 30, I think it's 33, 34 million, the largest dead cap hit in NFL history. The Eagles are taking on right now.
So I wonder if they'd be able to do something like that then.
I'm trying to think. What if because the Colts, they just gave up a second rounder? Was it a second rounder or a third rounder?
Oh man, Colts. What did they give?
Because it wasn't a first rounder. It was because the Colts still have their first rounder from this year.
It might have been next year.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I could look it up real quick.
Yeah, well, you got the computer right there. Come on, man. What's the point of having this fancy stuff right if you're not going to utilize it? Jeez.
I would kind of like the move if we can make it work from a cap standpoint. That combo of Ertz and Ebron, we definitely need a second tight end. Yeah. So if we're picking between Ertz and Jesse James, I'm definitely taking Ertz.
This is my question to you, though. Is Ertz and Ebron two similar styles of play?
That's fair.
Because they're both receiving threats. Now, if I'm picking between the two, obviously I like Ertz because he's just a more short-handed receiver. But to me, that's my only dilemma with it, right? When you talk about having Ertz and Ebron out there simultaneously, who we blocking?
All right, so here's what it is. It's Eagles receive 85th overall pick this year's draft. Do you remember this now? You'll remember it as soon as I say it. Conditional second rounder for next year that could turn into a first rounder if he plays 75, 70%, whatever it is. So that was
or
the
if they
deal.
like win a certain amount of games.
Yeah, that was the deal.
Yep. So yeah, that makes sense now. So, so if we could do something conditionally, I'm going to be opposed to it. Ertz is still, I think it's he might be 30. Is he 30?
Yeah, probably 30, 31.
Yeah. So I like it, but like I said, for me, if I'm going to bring in Ertz on a trade, then the way I probably would make my moves in correspondence, I would probably release Ebron and bring in a Jesse because Jesse can block. Or I want to bring in a bona fide blocking tight end. Think about when we had Ebron and Vance. It became real evident that Vance was going to be your blocking tight end. I just think like unless you're going to get a guy who can do both, you have to have one this is my receiving tight end and this is my blocking tight end. Otherwise, you're going to be very handicapped from running game standpoint where you're always going to have to go extra O-lineman. And when you keep on extra O-lineman, you tip your hand. We get to see that and we're going to say, okay, every time you bring him in there, it's a telltale sign now.
So that's the thing. Would you rather... Well, Kyle Rudolph already signed, so would you rather have Ertz over Ebron then? Or is that too much maneuvering around?
Put it like this. I would if I could have the numbers similar. If I can get the numbers similar in terms of making it match Ebron's cap hit, then I personally don't want to touch. Even though I think Ebron, I do think Ertz is a nice upgrade over Ebron. I just don't think he's worth the money that we could spend elsewhere. That's the big thing. You know what I mean? Because we still have other pieces that we're going to have to fix. In terms of, you still, like I said, whether it's running back, O-line, however we want to address, we're still going to address that. We still going to do some addressing on the defense side of the ball as it pertains to linebacker as well. You look at the inside linebacker depth, we don't have any. You look at outside linebacker depth, we don't have any. You look at how many draft picks we have, it's not enough draft picks to fill all of these holes. Then, obviously, we talked about, now, I think from a corner standpoint, that might become less of a...
Pierre Island.
Right, well, that's the thing. So, Cam Sutton is looking like he's going to get the nod to be the starting slot corner, but I think that they might roll James Pierre to start on the outside, or at least to compete for it, right?
What has happened? Literally, the dude has played like one game last year.
Okay. Yeah, seriously.
And the hype is out, just out the wazoo. And I'm all about it.
Because the way that, now, they can do a couple of things from the secondary standpoint. They did a little bit of this with Cam Sutton in the Browns game in week 17. He started at outside corner. Then on possession downs, third down, sub package downs where you're getting three or more receivers, he would bump in to play corner. He would play slot corner. So what they could do, instead of having James Pierre start at outside, you start Cam Sutton opposite of Joe Hayden. And then when it's third down and you go sub package ball, then you can bump Cam inside to play slot corner and have James Pierre play outside. I haven't seen James Pierre play in the slot just yet, so I don't know if he's capable of that. Based on his build, he's built more like an outside corner, long, rangy. So that's something that they've done with Cam Sutton before. Now, I don't know if they would want to do that full time because that can become a little bit more challenging. Now, Cam is a guy, not personally knowing him, he is smart enough to do this. It's difficult, but he is definitely smart enough to do it where he can bounce from position to position all within the same series and be fine.
That makes the signing that much better.
Yeah, it definitely does. But now the problem is you put a lot of faith in him staying healthy. Because if he goes down, now you can see how you're going to have multiple issues because he's starting at outside, starting at inside. You didn't feel comfortable enough with James Pierre being the starter going forward. Now you can see the bind that you might put yourself in a little bit with that. But that's one way that they can go about it. The other way is they could just say, we're going to bring in somebody else. I saw names like Casey, was it Casey Howard?
Hayward, yeah.
Excuse me, Casey Hayward, yeah. And it was somebody else. It was another corner I saw.
There have been some decent cornerbacks. Well, Dory Jackson, I don't know if he signed yet. Maybe he signed as we're talking.
Didn't he go? He took his visit to the Giants, I want to say it was, right?
I haven't seen him connected with the Steelers in any way outside of Zach Banner saying, hey, come to Pittsburgh. Because of the USC connection.
Well, I mean, you think about him and Juju; they were teammates there, and obviously, I thought that was the interesting part when Juju took the little visits to the Jets because of Sam Darnold. I was like, oh, all right, I see the little USC connection going on, but yeah,
if we could get a veteran cornerback, well, maybe with one of these 1-year deals with avoidable years, like even like Richard Sherman or something like that,
dude.
Like if we just brought someone that's been pretty solid throughout their career, just a solid starter on a 1-year deal, I think that makes sense.
I'm with it. Like I said, this whole avoidable year thing, this is what it is. The way that they've been making it sound like, it doesn't sound like it's a limit on how many you can do. If that is the case, I'm 100% with it. And from here on out, I don't think we should ever care about the salary cap anymore. If this is the loophole, because this has effectively gave the one finger salute to the salary cap, has it not? I mean, the moves that we've been able to make, we knew what our cap situation was going into this. Zero chance any of this was supposed to happen until this voidable year loophole thing came to present, you know? So if that's the case, I don't care. We could just tear up all salary cap conversations and just roll like this from here on out. Who wants a 1-year deal? Who wants a 1 for 12? Who wants a 1 for 19?